They're set, racing, and getting away well. Middle of the line is South Coast Arden, Curly James, and from the deep, Canina Provlima is set alight and showing any amount of toe. It's looking to drive across the face of the field, and it does. They were followed by Better Eclipse, Max Delight, Expensive Ego, and Mac Da Vinci. Rock and Roll Do settles down third to last with Captain's Knock. And last of all, as they reach that first turn and past the cages, it's Merlin. Up on the outside now, Curly James comes up, has a look and takes over. Canina Provlima takes the trail, and that forces Max Delight to punch the breeze. South Coast Arden is next on the pegs, and they were followed by Expensive Ego into the 1-1. Better Eclipse has been buried pegs 4 back as they work into the straight. Rock and Roll Do 3-ack in the running line. Well back in the field then as they run their way down the home straight now. On the outside is Captain's Knock, Mac Da Vinci pegs, and last is It's Merlin. That lead time was 50.4. Not a real lot of pressure, and the leader is Curly James. Here's Rock and Roll Do out of the running line. Comes up on the outside. Following it is Captain's Knock, and It's Merlin's into the race. So it's game on as they pass the post around to go. Rock and Roll Do set a light on the outside. Gets across to take on the leader and heads off Curly James. Captain's Knock follows it around. They were followed by It's Merlin 3 deep. On the inside, Canina Provlima, Max Delight. Then Expensive Ego, South Coast Arden. He's been able to get off the inside in that shuffle up on Better Eclipse. And last of all now, as they go to the back, is Mac Da Vinci. 29.6 for that first quarter of the last mile. Rock and Roll Do led. It's Merlin's doing a power of work on the outside and finally gets to the chair. Or not quite, he's just about there. They were followed by Curly James. Here's Better Eclipse on the march around them. And following it is Mac Da Vinci. They were followed in between runners as they work off the back straight. Captain's Knock. Canina Provlima, a one-time leader of the race, has been carted back. Then Max Delight, Expensive Ego, 3 deep with a helmet to follow. And South Coast Arden's last. You could throw a Kleenex over them as they run past the cages. 28.7 was that second quarter, and there's 3 abreast. It's Rock and Roll Do, again being joined by It's Merlin. Better Eclipse, yielding a bit of ground as Curly James. Between runners next of all is Mac Da Vinci and Captain's Knock from Max Delight. They straighten up. 26.6 for that quarter. It's Rock and Roll Do and It's Merlin. They're having a great battle up the straight. Down the outside, finishing on is Mac Da Vinci. Better Eclipse. Max Delight weaves for a run, but these two having a soul-stirring struggle on the outside. It's Merlin. Rock and Roll Do's coming again. Leaders Max Delight storming up on the pegs. Going to the leaders. It's Merlin. That's tough. That's big. That's a win. It's Merlin beats Rock and Roll Do. Big run Max Delight. Captain's Knock stayed on for 4th. They were followed by South Coast Arden, Curly James, Expensive Ego, Better Eclipse, Canina Provlima, and Mac Da Vinci has finished near the tail, 27.2 home, and the rate around 153. It's Merlin 3 deep for a portion of the trip, then breezed outside some cracking quarters, has grafted out a big win in the free-for-all.